Welcome home, babe. Glad you're home.
Glad to be home. Hey everybody, we are making this video because we are concerned about people's pensions. I have been talking about pensions and how they're broke for a long time, and people think it's secure and nothing will ever happen. I'm telling you it will. We're going to talk about how people are running to gold and silver. It's unbelievable. It's hard to keep it in stock. It's happening even more so over in England, where they're starting to print money already. So as we get into the story, just know that there's a lot of evidence pointing towards governments are going to do quantitative easing to infinity and beyond.
True. Very, very true. So, well, it came out where the headlines was that basically England has had a run on the gold and silver bullion. Local shops have come out, and this was on Bloomberg, and they said, we're out of gold and silver. We can't get it. We've sold out. People are literally cashing out what they can get a hold of, and they're running to gold and silver. And we're seeing that here locally. And that's kind of how this originally started when we started looking into this, that even locally, when people call me, I'm having to say, hey, you guys, you know, I can get it for you, but it's going to be 48 days out. Or I'm having to say, nope, that is not available any longer. But where this, and even some people in England right now and the UK, they are actually bringing their gold to the banks and they're asking them to use that as collateral for loans. I mean, I don't know if I've ever heard that happening in the US anytime recently. Not recently.
Well, they're doing everything they can to keep it suppressed.
And how it kind of came about was this video that Jack was talking about, which, by the way, Jack with Nobody Special.
Yeah, you should check him out. I'll put the link to his channel in the description. Check out Jack at Nobody Special Finance. He did a wonderful video. He said he's got like 14 hours invested in that video, and you might have to watch it twice. I did, because there's a lot of new acronyms and lingo that's hard to understand. They try to make it that way on purpose, I'm pretty sure, but you can't fool me. You can try, but you know, just try to pay attention and listen to it as many times as you can, because this will happen here 100%. Remember, there has never been a fiat currency make it. They've all returned to the intrinsic value of zero. They will be worth the paper they're printed on. I'm going to paper my gym. I built a gym and I'm going to paper the walls in it with $100 bills. That will happen, and I'm going to make a video when I do it. But until then, we're going to be talking about it.
Well, Jack made a really, really good video, and I recommend everybody go look at it, because he broke it down what's happening in the UK across the pond right now. And he broke it down very, very simple in terms where you and I can understand it. So basically, these pension funds are swapping interest rates with investors. Why they're doing that, I have no idea. And Chris actually talked to Jack earlier about that. And it really makes no sense why they're doing that, except for they think the pension funds may go belly up.
Well, here's what I made of it. It's okay. So they're doing a interest rate swap.
Right.
All right. Try to hang with me. Jack is much better explaining this than me, but this is simply put, they're swapping that, not the asset, just the interest rate.
Right.
The investors swapped with the pensions. I don't know why you do that. They swapped a fixed rate for a variable rate, and the pensions won for about the last 4 years.
Correct.
Well, if the investors are anything like the investors I know, they're early. And it worked for the pensions for a while, but now, since the interest rates are starting to climb,
right,
they're getting margin called. They're being called out, and they're having to put up assets, and the only assets they have are bonds. So now they're selling bonds, which drives interest rates up. So it's like a feedback loop, is what Jack. It's what Jack called it.
Yeah.
So, and I agree with him 100%. So this is over there. Keep that in mind. No, it's not happening here yet. But the pensions have been broke for a long time.
Correct.
They have to make 7.5% in the stock market to cover everybody, to pay everybody, to pay your mom, my dad, you know. They have to make, they gamble. They have been robbed, so they've been forced to gamble with the money. And now, if the stock market goes down, they're going to have to stimulate. That's the moral of the story is that. They're going to have to pivot when it gets down to the bottom. Just wait, just like England did. When it happens here, they're going to have to start quantitative easing again, which is just printing money. Don't get lost in the acronyms. that's going to happen. And when that happens, the intelligent investors will sprint to gold and silver, and some of them will go to crypto as well. I hope they don't miss the gold miners, because they're going to go to the moon too.
Could be. I don't know. It was just very interesting the way he connected the dots and he put it together. So their bond is called the gilt. So go look on the video. It's called the gilt trip. And their bonds are called the gilt, which ours are obviously U.S. Treasuries. But they started selling them off. And so the Bank of England said, oh, shoot, they're going to, basically by that afternoon, from what Jack said, their pensions would have been destroyed. So they frantically went in and started buying up all these bonds. And we say it's overseas and that it couldn't happen to us, but usually what happens overseas at some point, it eventually comes here. So I think it's something we should pay attention to. And everybody in England right now is running to gold and silver. They said the rates are crazy as far as people coming in and buying gold and silver. They cannot keep up. They're completely sold out. Even to vault, they said people have doubled their vault, their rates with their applications to do vault.
Doubled applications.
Doubled. And just in the last, I think, couple of weeks, said we anticipate we will continue to see this upward trend of people using gold as loan collaterals. Instead of having assets and your financial statements, they're using gold. People are going out and buying gold. And this is something I think we need to pay attention to. What's happening there could happen. And my dad's pension, he's in that same predicament. And I've called him several times and had him check into it. And I'm like, Dad, you need to check into it. And his is based on something just like this. And so I'm watching it currently because I'm scared that my dad will no longer have a pension. And I think it's something everybody should take a look at and see, hey, what is your pension? If you have parents, currently if it's you, what is your pension invested in? What are your risks?
They'll have a pension. It just won't buy anything. The problem is you'll still get paid, but the value of the currency they're giving you will go down and it won't buy much. That's the problem with this whole thing, is most everybody, including me and everybody else, is denominating things in dollars.
True.
You really need to start denominating things a different way, however you choose. But you know what I mean?
Oh, I completely do. Because I want to go down that path just a minute, because you had a great Mike Maloney chart. Before we do, though, it's so bad, apparently, that the U.S., let's see, hang on, I wanted to say, the UK regulators, it's so bad over there. They're meeting daily. Because October the 14th, I guess, the UK is going to stop buying these bonds. So they're scared to death of what's going to happen. The crisis will start again October the 14th. So you guys just keep an eye on it. Just pay attention. Just see what happens. And just something to pay attention to, because they're obviously rushing to gold and silver. But you showed me a really cool chart earlier about Mike Maloney, where you talked about the gold ratio versus assets. Can you
Sure.
talk about that
yeah,
a little bit?
I'll actually put it on the screen. I wasn't going to edit this video, but I will.
Sorry, I brought that up. So he showed me this this clip earlier, or this screenshot, where it talks about when you buy a house, what it's worth versus gold. At some point, an asset is worth more than gold. At some point, gold is worth more than an asset. And as you go through the cycles, through the years, it was very interesting. So if you can find that, maybe just put it up in the chart or in the video.
Yeah, it's gold to real estate. If you look at the houses, that's the same house from the 1920s all the way to 2020. Okay, you could buy in the 1920s. You could buy that house for $3,000 or 150 ounces of gold. Okay, go to the 1930s. You could buy that house for $2,000 or 60 ounces of gold. Okay, so there was 10 years there where you could have swapped your gold and silver for a house and tripled it, all right, or thereabouts. Okay, and it rocks on, and it's $30,000 or 850 ounces of gold in 1970s. And then in 1980, it was $60,000 or 70 ounces of gold. This is another one of those, you can go back and forth between these assets and really double and triple and quadruple. It's like,
well, that's what we're doing right now.
That's a different way to denominate goods, whether the good is your house, food, land, cattle, asset. Think of assets as in a different way, and try not to denominate them in currency.
True.
Because all the time. I get this when I was out of town. I get this all the time. Well, you know, gold's down, and the YouTubers. We went to a vid summit in Los Angeles. I just got back yesterday, and the little kids that were talking about the index funds had absolutely no clue
what they were.
Zero. They were telling everybody, "Oh, it'll come back. It always does." Yeah, in your short little lifetime, even in our lifetime. Me and Jack were talking earlier on the phone. Nobody alive has seen the magnitude of the crash that's coming. And I'm going to get somebody in the comments saying, "Oh, you're just a doom and gloomer." Well, fine. Buy stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You don't have to invest in gold and silver and hard assets. Do like the masses. That's fine. But look at that chart. Yeah. And see how it worked out in the past. That will happen again in the future. It just hasn't happened in your lifetime.
It's so interesting. I was talking to my dad today about that. I had a really great conversation with my dad, and we're talking about cycles. And if you are prepared and you know what's coming, within reason, you don't ever know exactly what's coming. But if you see somewhat what's coming and you follow the cycles and you try to do like that. So right now, personally, we're selling our rent houses and we're putting in precious metals and other assets. Yeah, I know. But that's what we're doing because that's what we see the cycle of the market. And so I think if you do that and you pay attention, then you can have an advantage. Where versus if you just stick your head in the sand, I think that's our point. Just don't stick your head in the sand. Just pay attention. Just don't. Normally we would buy something, I would put it on the shelf or an investment and wouldn't worry about it for maybe 6 years. But now it's monthly. Monthly I pull our financial statement and I go, okay, what do we stand? Because things are so volatile right now. You can't just go, this is an everyday aspect of it. But anyway, back to what's going on.
Well, don't get me wrong. It was hard to sell cash flow and rental properties.
It was.
And that was my part of my retirement plan was to have cash flowing rent houses and many of them. But things happen in life.
Yes, it does.
And every 50 or 100 years, cycles happen.
It does.
And just like that chart I showed you.
Yes.
And right now, there's the 7-year cycle happening, there's the 50-year cycle happening, and the 100-year cycle happening. There's a multitude of things happening right now. There's decades are happening in days now.
True.
And you just have to go with your convictions. And we actually sold cash flowing rental properties that have renters in them right now, paying and that have never been late. And it sounds crazy to sell those, but I know one thing. I've got that skill. We have that skill, and we can pick up rental properties when they're half price. In 2008, rental properties were 20 cents on the dollar. 30 cents on the dollar. That's what people were paying for them. Can you imagine holding rental properties through something like what happened in 2008? Me neither, and I don't even want to. And I'm very possibly early. We're probably early. I get it. I've already come to terms with that. I've never called the bottom or the top of anything.
Well, you know what though? But we are saving one. I will tell you, we're saving one rental property. It's going to be completely paid for, and I'm doing a line of credit, and we're going to just hold that and just see kind of what happens. Yeah. And but anyway, just really quick, let's just go back to what's going on with the gold and silver and all the stuff that's going over across the pond or whatever. So everybody's rushing to gold and silver because they're really concerned. And even Blackrock has come out and said they're cutting leverage in the funds and some of the funds of the UK pensions. And they've also come out, Blackrock and Goldman Sachs, and they're like, we have no idea what is going to happen with this recession. They said it's not even factored in to the market. I think it's something that we really need to look out for. We need to pay attention to what's going across the market because it's also affecting us here. So even here, if you think U.S. Treasuries are safe and all that kind of stuff, over the last 9 months, equities, global stocks, bonds, and all that, we've lost 36 trillion. It's
unbelievable.
And people don't see that, and they're like, oh, okay, whatever.
No, okay, hang on, just 1 second.
Go for it.
I know this video's getting long, but
that's okay.
It's worth it. The whole market cap of gold is like 10 trillion.
Correct.
And we've lost how many trillions?
We've lost 36 trillion in emerging equities, global stocks, and bonds. They said we're seeing the world be remade politically and economically.
This is, we're in a paradigm shift. And we are not even getting started. We're just getting warmed up. Just wait. You're going to see the biggest fireworks. We're entering the Thunderdome, literally. We're going to see some really, really crazy stuff, and here pretty quick. I mean, even the older people are going to get to see it. It's nothing far, far away. It might be up farther. It's always farther than I think, but We're almost here. Keep going because I can't wait till you get to the 2020.
Okay, yeah, so it said this year's pullback outspaces steep declines seen during the 2008 to 2009 financial crisis and...
Remember how bad that was?
Yep, it was. That was some bad times.
That was unreal. Wait, but the next thing...
And the 2020 pandemic. And this is based on the drop in market value, according to Bloomberg, and also the all-country world stock index combined.
We had the whole world shut down in 2020.
We did.
The whole, everything. It was the end of the world. Remember that? And we have already come past that.
That's what they're saying.
Or right there at it.
Steep decline.
And this hasn't been priced into the market.
That's what they're saying. That's what Blackrock and, what did I say, Bloomberg? Or, yeah, they were saying.
Everything's hunky-dory. It's life is normal. People are playing football and going to soccer games. There's nothing, you know, there was nothing wrong in California. Los Angeles, nothing. It was life as usual. Everything was great.
when you were there for your conference.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just got back, and it was. I try to look everywhere I go, and it was just everything was normal. You know, just another vid summit.
Yep.
And some little kids thinking they know about index funds, and it'll never go down because it never has in my lifetime.
Well, Bank of America has also come out and said that 294 interest rates hike globally since August of 2021, alongside 3.1 trillion quantitative tightening in the past 7 months. Once again, you guys, I just think these are little dots. Once again, look at the Jack's video that he put out. It will help you connect the dots, what's going on with the pension funds across the pond. If you take it and you put it locally where we are, that could possibly happen here. I just think it's something that we should take a look at. When everybody's running to gold and silver, there's obviously a reason. And I would say 70% of my people that call me are first-time buyers. They're waking up. They're realizing this is an issue, and our value of our dollar's going down, and
it's actually getting stronger.
Well, it's stronger, but it's going down because you look at the store. You go to the store, and your purchasing power is less.
Yeah, inflation's going up. I agree with you. I'm just saying it's very
right.
confusing.
Right. It is confusing.
It's very confusing. I just want to make that. I'm not trying to call you out.
No, you're right. You're right.
I'm just saying be careful because you're going to hear people talking about, oh, the dollar's so strong. It's the strongest currency on the planet. And it is.
It is right now.
But everything does that first.
Yeah,
Everything goes down first before it goes up. And it goes up before it goes down. Nothing goes up or down in a straight line forever. That's why we saw the rental properties. That's why we're making this video. That's why things are fixing to happen that you never thought would happen before the pandemic was a warm-up.
I think it was. I think it was if you didn't pay attention then and see what was going on and like wake up, then you better wake up now.
And I feel like I need to say this. If you don't have food, remember, eggs rivaled gold in Venezuela. That's the closest thing we have to hyperinflation that we can in our lifetime.
In Germany and also in North Korea.
Yeah, it was. We're going to start seeing that next year. End of this year, first of next year, it's going to be more obvious. And as we get in the middle of next year, it's going to be blatantly out. There will be nobody talking about the food's fine. For all you people in the comments, it's going to say, there's nothing wrong with the food. There's no shortages. Just wait. This is a warning for things to come.
I wish it wasn't, though. That's the sad thing. So we say this, but I wish to God it wasn't. But we say this to hopefully wake somebody up, and you can make a difference while there's still a chance. That's why I think we say this.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I really appreciate you hanging out with us this evening. I hope you have an awesome, awesome weekend. Yep. We'll see you in the next one. Later.